This video is about she got lost at the mountain trail and a billionaire handed her an umbrella. If this story touches your heart, please mention where you are watching from in the comments. Please like the video and share your thoughts in comments. The air was crisp and alive with anticipation as Jenna stepped onto the mountain trail. It was early autumn, and the trees were a riot of reds and golds, their leaves fluttering to the ground like confetti celebrating the changing seasons. She had planned this getaway meticulously, hoping to escape the relentless pace of her corporate marketing job in the city. The mountains beckoned with their promise of tranquility, solitude, and, perhaps, a little adventure. Jenna tightened the straps of her backpack, feeling the comforting weight of her camera nestled inside. Photography was her passionate way to capture the world as she saw it, peeling back layers of the mundane to reveal the extraordinary. She inhaled deeply, savoring the earthy scent of moss and pine. As she walked, she replayed the conversations she had with her boss, a man who seemed to excel at squeezing every ounce of creativity from her, leaving her feeling drained. "You need to take risks to move forward, Jenna," he had said, eyes glinting with ambition. Little did he know, she was on the cusp of an important decision, one that could change everything. Lost in thought, Jenna didn't notice the clouds rolling in, dark and ominous, until she felt the first drop of rain spatter against her cheek. She paused, glancing up at the sky, her heart racing at the sudden shift in atmosphere. The peaceful solitude of the trail morphed into something foreboding as the drizzle quickly intensified. Drawing her jacket tighter around her, Jenna hurried along the path, hoping to find a sheltered spot to wait out the rain. The sound of the raindrops pounding against the leaves grew louder, drowning out the rustling of shoes against gravel. The world blurred around her, and for a moment she lost her sense of direction. "Great," she muttered to herself, eyes darting from side to side. Just great, this was supposed to be a peaceful retreat. Continuing down the path, Jenna felt a wave of uncertainty wash over her. The trail had transformed into a slippery mess, and her shoes struggled for traction. She could feel the panic rising in her chest as she turned around, realizing she was completely alone. The sound of the rain masked any footsteps nearby, and she was acutely aware of how isolated she was. As she rounded a bend, a figure emerged from the shadows of the trees. He was tall and imposing, an umbrella held aloft like a beacon against the storm. Jenna squinted, the rain momentarily blinding her, but as she got closer, she could see the man was undeniably handsome, strong jaw, tousled hair, and eyes that seemed to glimmer with mischief even in the dull light. "Are you lost?" he asked, his voice smooth and deep, cutting through the sound of the rain. "Ah, yeah," Jenna admitted, feeling a flush creep to her cheeks. "I didn't expect the weather to turn this quickly." He tilted his head slightly, a playful smile dancing on his lips. "The mountains have a way of surprising you. I am Marcus, by the way." He extended a hand, and Jenna instinctively shook it, surprised at how warm his grip felt despite the chill in the air. "Jenna," she replied, a rush of warmth igniting in her chest as their eyes locked for a moment longer than necessary. "Need some help?" Marcus asked, lifting the umbrella as he gestured for her to join him beneath it. "I can't let you wander off into the storm alone, can I?" "Thanks, but I don't want to put you out," she said, hesitating for just a moment. The thought of sharing an umbrella with a stranger sent her heart racing in an entirely different way. She was supposed to be taking a break from romantic entanglements, but something about his presence was magnetic. "Trust me, it's not a bother. Besides," he added with a wink, "if you get lost, who else is going to keep me company?" With a reluctant grin, Jenna slipped under the umbrella, their shoulders brushing together as the fabric arched over them. The rain drummed a steady rhythm above, creating a cocoon of intimacy that felt entirely out of place in the wild landscape. "Where are you headed?" Marcus asked, glancing sideways at her. His voice had a casual confidence that made Jenna feel at ease, even as the storm raged around them. "I was hoping to find a viewpoint," she admitted. "I wanted to capture some photos, just needed a break from, life." "Ah, the life of a corporate warrior," he mused, eyes narrowing as he studied her face. "What do you do?" "Marketing," she said, shrugging slightly. "It's a bit mind-numbing, honestly. I feel like I am just another cog in the machine." Marcus nodded, a knowing glint in his eyes. "I get that. I used to be in finance, years spent chasing numbers and deadlines. Now, I do a bit of everything, investing in startups, exploring new ventures. I find it much more fulfilling." His nonchalant tone contrasted sharply with the passion behind his words, and Jenna felt a flicker of intrigue. "So you read a jack of all trades?" "Something like that," he replied, turning to face her fully. "But I think it is important to find what truly makes you happy, what sets your soul on fire." Easier said than done, Jenna sighed, her mind flickering to the layers of expectation she felt. What if I never figure it out? There is no expiration date on finding your path, he assured her, sincerity radiating from his gaze. Sometimes you just have to get a little lost to see it clearly. They walked in silence for a moment, the rain creating a comfortable barrier from the chaos outside. The air felt charged with unspoken words, a tension that hung between them like the storm clouds above. So, Jenna, what do you want to do when you are not lost in the wilderness? He asked, breaking the spell. I want to create, she said, her voice stronger now. I want to tell stories through my photos, to capture moments that make people feel something, but it is hard to find the time between work and everything else. Then maybe you should quit your job, he suggested, his brow furrowing with concern. If it is draining your creativity, it might be worth the leap. Life is too short to be miserable. His words struck a chord within her, igniting a flicker of hope. But the familiar voice of doubt crept back in, reminding her of the responsibilities she had, the security she had fought hard to gain. It is not that simple, she murmured, a frown tugging at her lips. Maybe not, Marcus conceded, his voice softening. But it is worth considering. What if the best moments of your life are just waiting for you to take that leap? Jenna felt her heart flutter, caught between his encouraging gaze and her own apprehensions. The rain continued to fall, but the world around them felt infinitely more vibrant, as if the storm had awakened something deep inside her. Before she could respond, a flash of lightning illuminated the sky, and a thick rumble of thunder echoed through the mountains. They exchanged startled glances, laughter bubbling up between them, breaking the tension of the moment. Okay, let us find some shelter, Marcus suggested, his smile eager. I think I saw a little cabin further down the trail. We might be able to wait out the storm. Jenna nodded, her heart racing not just from the storm but from the thrill of their burgeoning connection. As they moved forward under the shelter of the umbrella, the storm in the sky paled in comparison to the brewing storm of emotions within her. Maybe losing herself in the mountains wouldn't be so bad after all. Two of them moved quickly along the increasingly slick path, Jenna's heart racing not just from the exertion but from the feeling of closeness she shared with Marcus. His warmth radiated off him, a contrast to the chill of the rain-soaked air. Do you come here often? Jenna asked, trying to steer the conversation away from the deep, personal topics they had just touched on. Not as much as I'd like, honestly, Marcus replied, glancing at her with a hint of mischief in his eyes. I tend to get caught up in work like everyone else, but this, he gestured around, this is where I recharge. Recharging in the rain? She teased, her smile brightening the grayness around them. Hey, it is all about perspective, he shot back, mock serious. Some might call it madness, but I call it adventure. Jenna laughed, and she felt a lightness inside her, feeling she hadn't experienced in a long time. It struck her that their banter was easy, flowing with an effortless rhythm that made her feel seen, alive. But it was also laced with an undercurrent of tension, a spark that hummed between them, waiting to ignite. As they rounded a bend, the faint outline of a cabin came into view, nestled among the trees, smoke curling lazily from its chimney. Jenna felt a rush of relief. Thank goodness, I was beginning to think we'd be stuck out here forever. And not on my watch, Marcus said, his voice warm and reassuring. I'll make sure you are safe and dry, even if it means playing the part of the gallant hero. Such a noble man, she replied lightly, rolling her eyes in mock admiration. Tell me, do you always save lost women in storms? Only the ones with interesting stories, he shot back, giving her an earnest look. And you seem more than intriguing, Jenna. Her breath caught in her throat, and she turned her head to hide her blush, staring out at the cabin. The flavor of embarrassment mixed with excitement was almost dizzying. It was just a compliment, she reminded herself, but there was something in his tone, a sincerity that made her wonder what he truly saw in her. They hurried to the cabin, and Marcus pushed the door open, revealing a modest interior filled with rustic charm. The wood beams creaked as they stepped inside, and Jenna couldn't help but admire the cozy atmosphere, the flicker of a fire in the hearth, the old quilts draped over furniture, the inviting aroma of wood smoke. Welcome to your temporary sanctuary, Marcus said, shaking off the rain from his coat, droplets dancing across the cabin floor. He moved to light the fireplace, and Jenna took the opportunity to shed her wet jacket, hanging it near the fire to dry. Do you have a match? She asked, looking for something to occupy her hands. Already taken care of, he replied, tossing a couple of logs onto the fire. I always come prepared. Of course you do, she teased, unable to resist the urge to flirt back. The gallant hero strikes again. As the fire crackled to life, Jenna settled onto a worn sofa. There was something magnetic about him, an intoxicating combination of confidence and thoughtfulness. He joined her, sitting at an angle that allowed them to share the warmth radiating from the flames. "So what is your story?" he asked, settling into a more serious tone. "Why escape to the mountains?" Jenna hesitated, the weight of his question sinking in. I don't know. I feel like I am at a crossroads. My job is consuming all my energy, and I am tired of just going through the motions. I want to find something that truly excites me. Have you thought about how you do that? Marcus leaned forward, his gaze intense. I have ideas, she admitted, fiddling with the bracelet on her wrist. But it is scary to think about taking that leap. What if I fail? Fear is a powerful motivator, he said thoughtfully. But it is also often a prison. You have to ask yourself, what is worse, failing at something you love or never trying at all? She felt a flicker of recognition in his words. They resonated deep within her. You really believe that? Absolutely, he replied, a softness in his tone that made her heart flutter unexpectedly. Life is meant to be lived, Jenna, not just survived. You have to pursue what makes you feel alive. The sincerity in his eyes stirred something inside her, a longing for a connection that went beyond the surface. But just as quickly, a thought crept in, tainting the moment. Who was she to think he could want anything more than a fleeting moment of companionship in this cabin? What about you? She asked, shifting the focus back to him, her voice a touch unsteady. What does your life look like outside of this? Ah, the thrill of discovery, he smirked, leaning back with a casual charm. I am often in different cities, working on various projects. I love the chase of a new idea, the thrill of potential. You read like a modern-day explorer, she said, gesturing dramatically. Something like that. He watched her with an appraising gaze. But I've learned that there is more to life than just work. I want to create something meaningful, something that leaves a lasting impact. Jenna felt a subtle shift in the air, an intimacy growing between them. The fire crackled softly, the room warm and cocoon-like, wrapping them in a world of their own. Do you think you've found it? She asked quietly, uncertain of where this conversation was leading, but unable to pull herself away. Not yet, he admitted, leaning closer, his voice dropping to a softer tone. But I have a feeling that I am getting closer. Sometimes I think it is not just about the goals, but the connections we make along the way. His words hung in the air, charged with meaning. Jenna felt something in her chest squeezed tightly, a mix of hope and fear. She was craving connection, but the idea of wanting it with a man she had just met felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Maybe you're right, she told him softly, her heart racing. Maybe it is about the journey. Exactly, Marcus replied, and in that moment a flicker of understanding passed between them, something unnameable yet profoundly felt. Suddenly, thunder rumbled outside, and the rain began to fall harder, pelting against the cabin like a warning. Jenna startled slightly, looking towards the window. Not the most romantic backdrop, is it? She said, trying to lighten the tension. You'd be surprised, he said, his gaze steady on her, the corners of his mouth lifting in a smile. Sometimes the most intense moments come from unexpected circumstances. She felt her cheeks heat again, and their eyes locked for a moment longer. It was a dangerous game, she realized, feeling drawn to him in a way she hadn't in years. Would it be too forward to say that I am glad we met? Marcus asked, breaking the spell with a casual tone, though she could sense an underlying seriousness in his words. Maybe, Jenna replied, a teasing smile playing on her lips. But I am glad too. It is nice to meet someone who understands the struggle. Maybe we can help each other find our paths, he suggested, his voice slow and earnest. Who knows, sometimes a little adventure can lead to unexpected places. Like this cabin? Jenna countered, her heart racing at the implications of what he was suggesting. Exactly, he replied, his gaze lingering on her. Or maybe even more. The air thickened between them, charged with possibility. Jenna fought against the urge to lean closer, to close the distance that felt both inviting and fraught with uncertainty. Suddenly, a loud crash of thunder reverberated through the cabin, cutting through the moment. Jenna jumped slightly, startled, and Marcus chuckled softly. Looks like the storm doesn't want us to get too comfortable. Right, she said, laughing nervously. Just my luck. Don't worry, he said, his tone more serious now. We can wait it out together. Who knows what else we might discover? Jenna smiled at him, feeling the warmth of his presence like a beacon in the storm. They were two lost souls, navigating not just the trail but the complexities of their own hearts. As the rain continued to pour outside, Jenna allowed herself to lean into the moment, letting the spark of connection grow stronger. Who knew where this journey might lead? Perhaps getting lost wasn't such a terrible thing after all. Jenna shifted slightly on the couch, her heart racing as she tried to process the chemistry that had ignited between her and Marcus. The cabin felt both exhilarating and suffocating, the crackling fire throwing flickering shadows across his rugged features. "You said you get caught up in projects," she said, seeking to distract herself from the way his gaze seemed to hold her captive. "What kind of startups do you invest in?" Marcus leaned back, his expression thoughtful. "A bit of everything, really. Tech, sustainability, health innovations, but I am drawn to ideas that can change lives, make a real difference." "Sounds rewarding," Jenna replied, still slightly dazed by how easily their conversation flowed. "But aren't you worried about the risk? I mean, investing is a gamble." His lips curled into a smile. "Of course, but I thrive on that. The risk is part of the thrill, like climbing a mountain or facing a storm head-on. You never know what you'll find at the top." She couldn't help but admire his passion, the way his eyes sparkled as he spoke. "Have you ever invested in something that didn't pan out?" "More times than I care to count," he confessed, his tone light. "But every failure teaches a lesson, right? It is all about the journey, as you said." Their eyes locked, and Jenna felt a flutter in her stomach, a spark of curiosity mixed with something deeper. "What about you? What has been your biggest lesson in photography?" "I've learned that not every shot is perfect," she said, her cheeks warming. "Sometimes the magic happens in the unexpected moments, like right now." Marcus tilted his head, a smile tugging at his lips. "So you were saying I am an unexpected moment?" "Something like that," she replied, her laughter edging on nervousness. The way he looked at her intently, as if she held the secrets of the universe, made her heart race in ways she hadn't felt in years. "So, Miss Photographer, what is your favorite shot you've ever taken?" he asked, leaning forward slightly, the intensity of his gaze making her pulse quicken. "That is a tough one," she admitted, her mind drifting to the countless images she had captured. "I think it was a candid shot of my sister at her wedding. She was laughing, the sunlight hitting her just right. It felt raw, you know?" "That sounds beautiful," Marcus said, his voice softening. "Moments like that are what photography is all about, capturing real emotion." "It felt like I was freezing time, and I love that," she continued, feeling a warmth spread through her at the memory. "But then I look at all my other photographs, and sometimes I wonder if I am just chasing shadows." "Chasing shadows," he echoed, furrowing his brow. "What do you mean?" "I've always felt this pressure to create something groundbreaking," she admitted, her fingers fidgeting with the hem of her sweater. "But what if I am just mediocre? What if my story doesn't matter?" "Jenna," he said, his tone serious, "everyone's story matters. It is not about being groundbreaking, it is about being genuine. It is about capturing what you feel and sharing that with others. That is what connects us." His words struck deep, igniting a flicker of hope within her. "You really believe that?" "Absolutely," he replied with conviction. "Art is subjective. What you see as mediocre, someone else might see as extraordinary." She smiled, feeling a connection grow, a bond forged through vulnerability. "You're really good at this, making people feel understood." "Maybe it is a talent," he said, his eyes glinting with mischief. "Or maybe I just enjoy listening to intriguing women." Jenna felt her cheeks heat again, but she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, deflecting the compliment. "What about you? What do you do when you're not busy being a gallant hero?" "Ah, the secrets of the billionaire," he teased, leaning back with a playful smirk. "When I am not saving lost souls in the wilderness, I enjoy hiking, skiing, and sometimes just losing myself in a good book." "A well-rounded adventurer," she said, chuckling softly. "You must have some wild stories." "Only the kind that involve questionable decisions and bad weather," he replied, his voice light. "But I do say they build character." "I can argue with that," Jenna said, wishing she could share more about her own misadventures. "I've had my fair share of embarrassing moments, like the time I tried to cook dinner for my friends and accidentally set off the smoke alarm." He laughed, the sound rich and warm. "Now that is the story I want to hear." As Jenna recounted the tale, she felt the weight of her doubts momentarily lift. For the first time in a long while, she felt seen not just for her career aspirations, but for the messiness of her life. It was liberating, a balm for her restless spirit. "See?" Marcus said, a teasing glint in his eyes. "You have stories, you just need to embrace them." "Maybe I should start a blog or something," she mused, surprised by the thought. "Document my adventures, both good and bad." "You definitely should," he encouraged, leaning closer. "Your unique perspective could inspire others. It is a way to share your journey, and who knows where it might lead." "You might be right," she admitted, her heart swelling with hope. But doubt pricked at the edges of her mind. What if no one reads it? Does it matter that he challenged, his expression earnest? As long as you be honest and true to yourself, that's what counts, the rest will follow. His sincerity ignited something within her, a flame of possibility. But as she mulled over his words, another thought crossed her mind, dousing the flame. You make it sound so easy, but it is not. What if I fail? Failure is part of success, he said, his voice steady. You can let fear dictate your life. It's about taking the first step, even when it scares you, and I'll be here, cheering you on. Thanks, she said, her voice softening, overwhelmed by his warmth and support. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. Good, he replied, his gaze unwavering. You're worth it. As the fire crackled between them, Jenna felt the tension shift again, thickening the air with unspoken words. It wasn't just the storm outside creating this charged atmosphere, it was the connection that had blossomed between them, the desire that simmered just beneath the surface. Should we check the weather? She suggested, trying to break the tension, even as she longed to lean closer, to bridge the gap between them. Make sure it is safe to head back. Let us, he said, standing up. I'll do the honors. She watched him move to the window, the rain still hammering down, and she felt a pang of disappointment. The moment had shifted the intimacy heavy away as he turned his attention to the storm outside. Looks like it might clear up soon, he said, glancing over his shoulder. But we should wait a bit longer, just in case. Good idea, she replied, though the disappointment lingered. I guess we can stay here a little longer. Just as then the storm, he said, returning to the couch. What a perfect setting for a great story. Or a romantic comedy, she teased, trying to lighten the mood again, though her heart thudded loudly at the thought. Marcus laughed. Yes, but only if it includes an unexpected twist. Like what? She asked, intrigued. Like two strangers getting lost in the wilderness, only to find a deeper connection, he said, his voice low and sincere. Her breath caught in her throat, the weight of his words settling between them, heavy with meaning. You really think there is a connection? She whispered, unable to mask the vulnerability in her tone. I do, he replied, his gaze steady and earnest. It is rare to find someone who gets it, who understands the struggles, the doubts. It is refreshing. Jenna felt her heart race, a mix of excitement and fear swelling within her. What if he was right? What if this connection held more potential than she dared to imagine? But doubt clawed back into her mind. Was it just a storm in the intimacy of the cabin? Or was it something more? And what did they even want from this encounter? Marcus, she started, her voice hesitant. This is all so sudden, and I don't want to get ahead of myself. You just met me. I know, he said, his expression softening. But sometimes the best things happen when you least expect them. Trust me, I've had my share of unexpected moments too. And where did that lead you? She asked, her heart pounding as she searched his face for answers. Here, he replied, leaning slightly closer. With you, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. The sincerity in his eyes melted some of her doubts, but the fear still lingered. I just don't want to misread this. And neither do I, he said, his voice low-end. The storm outside intensified, but Jenna felt cocooned in a warmth that had little to do with the fire crackling beside them. The space felt charged, thick with unuttered thoughts and desires that hovered just beneath the surface. She could hardly breathe, the weight of Marcus's gaze drawing her in, yet the uncertainty of what lay ahead frightened her. Jill looked down, fidgeting with the edge of her sleeve, torn between the longing to lean closer to him and the instinct to protect herself. What were they doing here, in this intimate cabin, with their lives hanging in the balance outside? Jenna, Marcus said softly, causing her to look up. I can see the wheels turning in your mind. What are you thinking? She hesitated, considering how to frame her thoughts. I am just scared, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. What if this is just a fleeting moment? What if it doesn't mean anything once we leave this place? Marcus's expression shifted, seriousness filling his eyes. I get that, I really do. But what if it means everything? What if this is the start of something beautiful? Beautiful, she echoed, her stomach flipping. She wanted to believe him, wanted to surrender to the moment, but doubt crept in like the rain against the windows. You don't even really know me. Exactly, he said, leaning forward with an intensity that made her heart race. But I want to, and I have a feeling you're someone worth knowing. His words hung between them, charged with a promise that made her breath catch. The slightest movement, a tilt of his head, could close the distance, and the thought sent a thrill of nervous excitement through her. Why do you think I am worth it? She asked, her voice shaky. It was a question she hadn't intended to ask, but the vulnerability in this space seemed to demand it. Because Yuri here, fighting through a storm, he replied, his gaze unwavering. Yuri not just letting life happen to you, Yuri seeking clarity that takes courage. Jenna felt a warmth spread through her, chased by the chill of her own self-doubt. I don't feel courageous, she admitted, glancing away. I feel lost and confused. Yuri on a journey, he said, his voice gentle. We are, that is part of being human, but sometimes… He paused, searching for the right words. Sometimes you find clarity in the most unexpected places. Like this cabin, she said, trying to lighten the mood, though a part of her wanted to lean into the seriousness of the moment. Exactly, he replied, a smile breaking through the tension. And here we are, two people thrown together by chance, sharing a space in a storm. She let out a soft laugh, feeling the weight of her uncertainties lift just a little. You really have a way with words. Thank you, he said, his expression shifting back to something more contemplative. But I mean it. I believe that these moments matter, that they can shape our past in ways we can't even imagine. Jenna nodded, the sincerity of his words igniting something in her. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should stop trying to control everything and just see where this takes me. Exactly, he echoed, his voice low and soothing. And who knows, this could be the kind of connection that changes everything. Even if it is just for one night, she asked, daring to meet his gaze. Yes, Marcus replied, his voice filled with warmth. Even if it is just for one night, life is fleeting, Jenna. We should embrace the moments we were given. His words resonated deeply, unraveling a thread of fear that had woven itself tightly around her heart. Yuri so much more than I expected, she confessed, her voice softened now, more vulnerable. Likewise, he said, leaning slightly closer, almost imperceptibly. You have this incredible energy, a passion for life that is infectious. It makes me want to know you more. The tension shifted again, thickening the air. Jenna felt a magnetic pull toward him, the kind that had been missing from her life for far too long. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. Why are you so open? She asked, intrigued by his willingness to connect. Don't you worry about getting hurt? I used to, he admitted, a fleeting shadow crossing his face. But I realized that being guarded only kept me from experiencing real joy. I'd rather take the risk of getting hurt and miss out on something amazing. His honesty struck a chord within her. That's brave, she said, her heart swelling with admiration. I wish I could be that brave. You are, he countered, his voice earnest. You just need to give yourself permission to be vulnerable. It is where real connections flourish. I don't know if I can, she said, her voice wavering. What if I open up and it leads to disappointment? Then at least you'll know you tried, he replied, his gaze steady. And that is worth it. The sincerity in his voice broke down her defenses piece by piece. There was something undeniably compelling about him, and a lure that made her want to dive deeper into this connection. Okay, she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. What if I let myself be vulnerable for once? Then I promise to catch you if you fall, he replied, his expression brightening with promise. And if nothing else, I'll have a great story to tell. Jenna felt a spark of excitement flare within her, igniting the possibilities that lay ahead. It was a leap of faith, one she had been hesitant to take, but the way he looked at her made her heart race. And as the storm raged outside, the warmth of the cabin wrapped around them like a comforting embrace. Okay, she repeated, her courage growing. Let us see where this goes. Let us, he said softly, his smile infectious. There was a moment of silence, tension crackling between them, the air thick with unspoken feelings. Jenna felt her heart pound in her chest, a mix of thrill and fear. But the warmth of Marcus's presence ignited something within her, a desire to explore, to connect, to embrace the unknown. Do you believe in fate? She asked, unexpected words tumbling from her lips. Fate? He echoed, a playful smirk lighting up his face. I think it is a combination of choices and chance, like us meeting here. Right, she said, her heart pounding. But do you ever think that maybe fate brought us together for a reason? Maybe, he mused, his eyes thoughtful. But even if it didn't, I am glad we crossed paths. There is something undeniably special about being here with you. Jenna felt the warmth spread through her, the connection between them deepening. I am glad too, she admitted, feeling emboldened. It is like you see me in a way I've never felt before. Because you're not just a corporate warrior or a lost soul, he replied, his voice low and sincere. You, Jenna, you have dreams and passions that deserve to be explored. His words wrapped around her like a soft blanket, and for the first time, she felt truly seen. Thank you, she said, her voice thick with emotion. It means more than you know. I am just being honest, he said, his gaze unwavering. And I hope you know that no matter where this journey takes us, I am here for it. Jenna felt a rush of hope bloom within her, a flicker of something she hadn't yet allowed herself to feel in a long time. As the storm continued to rage outside, she realized that this moment, this connection, was exactly what she had been searching for. Maybe we can make our own path, she said, her voice steady. One that leads us toward something meaningful. Together, Marcus replied, his gaze filled with promise. Whatever that may be. And as the rain poured outside, Jenna felt a sense of peace wash over her. They were two souls navigating the chaos of life, forging a connection that felt real and true. In the midst of the storm, they had found something beautiful. And perhaps, just maybe, they were destined to get lost together.